Well, would you look at that? After a decade of being stuck in spin-off remake purgatory, Katamari has finally decided to drop a brand new main series game. Once Upon a Katamari is finally here, where you use the Prince ship to go back in time and roll Katamaris throughout history. And as a certified Katamari yapper, I have some stuff to say about it. Take everything I say with a big grain of salt since A, recency bias is a thing, and B, Namco could literally release a game that's just 8 hours of the king reading the newspaper, and I'd still throw all my money at it, but in my very biased opinion, this game is really good. This feels like a real yes and to the established Katamari formula. They took all the stuff we love from the games mostly, and added some great new features, like items and interactive elements in the levels. So from here on out, I'll be talking explicit spoilers for Once Upon a Katamari. So if you're a fan and you haven't bought it yet, do yourself a favor and go check this game out. It's really fun, and I think you'll find a lot of stuff to enjoy about it. So, the number one thing I noticed that I just need to get across to you is that this game has so much fan service in it. Not that kind of fan service. I mean it in the literal sense of just giving the fans what they want. Even from the promotional material, you could tell that they were heavily advertising the cousins in basically every ad, and they showed them interacting fairly frequently in the cutscenes of the game itself. And they got new descriptions with fun new lore. When I saw that, I started absolutely speedrunning the game to collect all of them. Too bad they use the reroll acquisition system where you have to get the first one, finish the level, and then play it again for the others to even spawn. That was a bit of a bummer, but it was worth it. There's also the intro, which showed references to all the past games, and guys, I'm not proud of this one, but oh my god, the scream I scrumped when they showed Robo King. If only they'd let you roll him up in that one level, then he could have been in the collection. We could have finally gotten a description for Wait, what were we talking about? Oh yes, Once Upon a Katamari. They also included some beloved gimmicks from past games, but incorporated them in new and creative ways. I think it would have been nice if the levels were a bit more evenly split between eras, like if the as large as possibles were divided up into the time periods that could have been neglected instead of just copy-paste Edo Japan, but I'll talk more about that in the level ranking. It would have been nice to see these cool new locations get a bit more representation, but oh well. Speaking of the nostalgia baiting, okay, maybe this is kind of an insane thing to say, but does anyone else feel this game is almost more of a We Love Katamari 2 than Katamari 7? From the setup of the select menu to the level variants to even the small things like referencing his We Love Katamari outfit in the cutscenes, it seems like the devs saw that We Love Katamari was so, well, loved in the community and said, okay, you can have some more of that as a treat, and I am the opposite of complaining about it. But also, us beautiful Katamari fans are starving. Can we please have something? Anything? I'll even take the heat level. Okay, sorry, that was too far. Now let's talk a bit about how this game actually felt to play. First of all, like the reroll games, the rolling felt a little more slippery and consequently a bit harder to control. Maybe this is more realistic or whatever, but I do prefer the rolling of the older games, it's just more simple. But on the other hand, the changes made to the actual controls are so helpful, and I can imagine it would be especially great for new players, although I did try the simple controls and I just couldn't get the hang of it, maybe I'm just stupid. The best thing they added was using L2 to charge. I never really used the dash much in the older games since it felt clunky, but in this game I was dashing around like a crazy person. No one could stop me. The freebies are a great new addition. At first I wasn't so sure about them. I thought it would kind of cheapen the experience and make the levels too easy, but then I learned how to not be a pill and I had a good time with them. The distribution of items is overall pretty good. I like how they're generally somewhat tailored to each level, generally spawning the items that would be most useful for each one. The magnet was the one that I ended up getting the most use out of, but the radar item turned into a surprise banger that really came through for me a lot, especially for finding the cousins, which, like in the past games, tended to be in weird or tricky places. Looking at you, Ryu. Oh, and giving you a bonus radar when you replay the levels was so nice, because I know that without this item, I would have gone mentally insane by now, searching every last inch of the map for some cousins. As for the scoring system, it was alright. I appreciate that it shows you exactly how much you need to get an S rank, but the requirements felt really unbalanced between levels. There were some where I struggled to even pull a D rank, but others I S ranked on my first try with plenty of time to spare. And the same is true for the crowns. Maybe it's just a skill issue, but I still can't find the third one on Perfect Size Coffin. Also, I didn't really know where else to put this, but why are we still doing the loading screen thing? This game came out in 2025 on the Switch too. I know you can make seamless transitions. If beautiful Katamari can do it, so can you. Another thing that slightly bothered me was that they kept repeating the same song for every level. Yes, it's heavily incentivized to switch it up, and you can do that, but all the other games have different default songs, even the ones that let you change the music. Katamariism is an absolute banger, but it would have been nice to have been given the chance to hear them all naturally while playing, instead of having to select a new song every single time. Okay, so it turns out that they actually did include the other songs, but you have to manually select default BGM to play that, which is actually the stupidest thing ever, but yeah, make of that what you will. Also, there's a DLC, which, yes, I did buy, that allows you to play older songs from past games. Except they didn't include the untouchable masterpiece Royal Academy of Katamari remix, so what is even the point? Actually, never mind, I get to stare at Robo King in the background, so it was worth it just for that alone. Also, the music was really good, but it's Katamari, so that's just a given at this point. One of the biggest things that they advertised a lot was the new online multiplayer Katamari Ball, and I found it very difficult. I played it once in the mandatory story part, came in second, got so butthurt about it, and never touched it since. I think I'm just too competitive for online games. Since I never even used this feature, even in the older games, I just 1v1 my brother so I could beat him and feel powerful. But I'm curious to hear what other people think about this. Maybe I'll get back to it at some point if you think it's worth another try. Another new thing is the King Token Gacha system, and despite my love of gambling, I never really used it. I just kept forgetting about it, and the default face was good enough for me anyway. And speaking of the faces, a nitpick that I have with the newer games in general is unfortunately the visuals. Not the graphics, game backgrounds, or any of those. Those are all great. I met the cousins. The art style itself is fine. I still prefer the older one because of how weird it is, but I understand that since they were remaking the game, they had to change some stuff to make the game different enough that it's worth buying. What I can't get behind is undoing the iconic design changes and making almost all of the cousins look worse. Going back to the Damacy designs was a questionable decision for Damacy Reroll, but acceptable since it's a remake of the first game and anyway those cousins aren't even playable. But We Love Katamari accomplished something that only happens once in a blue moon in that it literally redesigned its whole cast and they all looked better across the board. So why would you get rid of that in the remake? It feels lazy more than anything. And some of the cousins got it bad in the design department. The regression to Katamari Damacy designs is bad, but the worst is when they added completely new changes for literally no reason. I'm not opposed to redesigns. You just heard me glaze We Love Katamari, and I think the king looks phenomenal in this game, but why do they give Miso's head a bowl bottom? What was the point of that? Why isn't Jungle invisible anymore when that's literally the whole point of their character? June's smaller dots make her look like a color swap dip, but guys, and I just gotta rant about this, the worst is what they did to my boy Nickel. Okay, so in the original Damacy, he was a standard cousin shape, but with a metal texture and a hollow head for some reason. Then We Love Katamari rolled around, and he got, dare I say, the biggest upgrade out of any of the Damacy cousins. Boom, tube head, rectangular body, Lego hands, red accents, batteries, wheels, it was perfect. The head not only matched the other cousins, it looked like a battery, and the body was rectangular for easy access, and it all looked great. And then Reroll hit him with the ugly ray. What the hell happened here? The shape language is egregious. It looks like a brick got thrown on top of a soda can. Like these pieces just don't fit together right. And his head things are still circles. It looks wrong. It is just not pleasing to the eye. Some people have said that they maybe squarified his head so it would look like the official art, but if that's the case, hey game devs, there's a thing called perspective, and if you look at a cylinder from the front, it looks like a rectangle. And you clearly understand that because that's what you did with the king's art. I guess we should just turn his head into a Jenga if that's the logic we're going with. And I'm not even done, because you see this part? That opens. Why would you make it a cylinder? That's such an inefficient use of space. And they took away his batteries. How am I supposed to make fan art of Nickel and Charlie being besties if they made him so chopped? Leave my boy alone, he has been through enough. This is not Nickel, this is Dime. I know, I should just take the L and accept that this is how Katamari games look now, but there's a part of me that will forever mourn the older looks. This isn't even a problem with Once Upon a Katamari in particular, I just had to get this off my chest. And on a more positive note, the cousins they added are pretty cool dudes. I think Charlie and Tamba are my favorites. The cousin customization is also really great for what it is. I wish it was easier to register colors, but that didn't affect me at all since I just made myself insert. And look, they added this for me personally, there's no other explanation. So yeah, I know I just complained a lot, but that's just because I find it easier to talk about stuff I dislike than stuff I enjoy. Don't let my negative Nelly attitude fool you. I think this game is amazing and definitely worth a buy from any Katamari fan. There's so much to love here, and as I keep playing it, I keep discovering new things. I still don't know how to unlock the rest of these cutscenes, but I'm working on it. So the official Emeraldust verdict is, well, I don't like rating things out of 10 because I feel bad, so on the Katamari rating system, it gets 100 points. I have some nitpicks here and there, but in the grand scheme of things, they aren't nearly big enough to severely affect my enjoyment of the game. In my list of what I think is objectively the best Katamari game, it takes second place. I don't think anything can compare with how much of a cultural reset We Love Katamari is, but this game came really close. Maybe this is like sacrilegious or something, considering how much controversy there was when Beautiful Katamari did this, but since every game is doing DLC now, I kinda hope we get some for Once Upon a Katamari. It wouldn't even be difficult, just add some new time periods and presents. Please, Namco, please! Since this game is so new, I might change my opinions at some point, but for now, those are my thoughts. If you agree with me, then maybe like the video, and if you don't, feel free to yell at me in the comments. I'm going to make a video ranking all these levels from worst to best at some point, so keep an eye out for that if you're into this game. Sorry this video was so short and a little bit disorganized, I just needed to brain dump all my thoughts into the void, so thank you for listening to them. I hope to see you again soon, and have a nice day.